What's going on, guys? This is my post-ride review of the Honda NC750. Gotta send a huge shout out to Hunter, Tommy, and the rest of the gang over at Stub Cycles for allowing me to bring this bike to you. And in the description below, you will see a link to the ride-along video. That way you can see this machine in action and you can catch my reaction to it in real time. So let's dive into it. First of all, the Honda NC750 is, at least by my estimation, one of the absolute best commuter-style urban motorcycles that you could buy. Tons of stuff working in this motorcycle's favor, and it is clear that this motorcycle was engineered for economy and convenience, and pairing that with the value, I gotta say, I don't think that you could find a better example of this type of bike. Definitely purpose engineered. So what makes it so great? Well, let's dive into this. First of all, the DCT transmission. Guys, look, I know that there's a certain polarizing aspect of a DCT automatic on a motorcycle, but for all of the DCT automatic motorcycles that I've ridden, I've got to say that I've become more and more intrigued by this technology. It works really well now. I understand there were some teething problems early on, but I got to tell you, this new programming that they have for that transmission is exceptionally intuitive. One of the key takeaways with that is just how smooth that motorcycle, as you're rolling into the throttle, will initiate primary and then secondary downshifts when you are requesting more power, but then yet be so smooth on power uptake on very light throttle inputs, even in sport mode. So it's come a long way, and I think a lot of the folks that may have been jeering this type of technology just haven't had the opportunity to experience it yet. I was a little bit leery myself, but now that I've had an opportunity to ride several machines with that transmission, I gotta say, I'm pretty well taken by it. And in this type of motorcycle, it is a perfect fit. It's an urban bike. You're gonna be stuck in traffic a lot. You're gonna be in urban areas, slow moving, congested areas. That's where this transmission is gonna take a lot of the stress out of riding a motorcycle and allow you to pay attention to what's going on around you. All the while, again, offering up a performance envelope that's pretty impressive once you get used to how it works. And it doesn't take any time at all to get used to it either. But it works even better with the NC750 in my opinion. In fact, I think it's the best pairing of that transmission because of the power output and the power to weight of that NC750 and just how small that bike feels. That parallel twin 749 cc's is laid practically horizontal forward in the chassis. Means you got a ton of room for a box right there. Storage box, 23 liters, guys. You can almost put a full face helmet in this thing. Talk about practicality. It's light on its feet though because of that. All of its mass is very low. That DCT transmission and that forward tilting engine means that all of the weight is basically like 1.5 feet off the ground. So again, it feels very light underneath you. Plus, because of all that mass being lower, the tank and the hips of that bike are so narrow. So smaller folks could easily maneuver this bike around in slow speed or parking lot situations. That very narrow waist means that somebody that's a very petite person, say 5'3", 5'4", maybe female riders that are looking to get into this type of motorcycle are going to be right at home with this bike. Now, I will say, it is a little bit more of a compact machine, so riders that are tall may be a little bit cramped on it, but for most normal-sized folks, it's going to fit you just fine. And as far as getting down the road, listen, this is where this bike could maybe turn a few folks off, because if you look at the specifications, it's only putting out 55 horsepower and about the same in torque. But you have to remember that this engine is tuned for economy and for torque production. It's like horsepower is just something that winds up happening. Peak power is between 2,500 RPM and 6,000 RPM. So very, very torquey and very capable. Not a ton of power, but since it's always available, the bike always feels like it's in a sweet spot in the power band. So it performs better than the spec sheet would ever have you believe. So in saying all that, guys, for a commuter, I really like this motorcycle a lot, and it makes a lot of sense. Value in that it costs about $9,500, but fuel economy, I understand that the walk-in around number for mile per gallon on this is around 55 miles per gallon, but I've also been informed that some guys get 60, 65 plus if they're taking it easy on the highway. I'd say that's pretty good too for a commuter bike. All the way around, purpose built, and it does its job exceptionally well. If you haven't had an opportunity to ride one of these motorcycles, I highly suggest getting the opportunity, grab your keys, get over to Stubbs, grab the keys to this motorcycle, and take it for a spin. I have a feeling that you're going to have a ball with it. If you've never ridden a motorcycle with an automatic transmission, come into the experience with an open mind. It is going to be weird at first, not having anything to do with your left hand or your left foot. But once you take it for a spin, I think that you will find yourself with a lot more appreciation for this technology than maybe you came into it with. And by the way, check out that ride-along video. At the very end, I'm doing a lot of low-speed maneuvers with this bike, and you can see just how smooth and slick that transmission is. But with that, guys, I got to wrap it up. Y'all have a great one. I hope to catch you on the next one. Take care.